So in less than 24 hours, the cardinals will be locked in. They'll close those doors of the Sistine Chapel, no contact from the outside, and they'll begin the process of selecting a new pope, a new leader for the Catholic Church. It's almost time indeed for what they call the conclave. Now, this morning, those cardinals are gathered for the final meeting that they'll have before the conclave officially begins tomorrow. 133 cardinals hailing from 70 countries, and when they've been in Rome, they've been constantly swarmed by reporters with questions. So now they'll get some peace and quiet, if nothing else. They're not given much insight into who the next pope might be, which you wouldn't expect. Pope Francis, by the way, was elected on the 5th round of voting. Took just under 2 days, just for past perspective. Let's welcome back to the show now the Bishop of Trenton, New Jersey, Bishop David O'Connell, is also the former president of Catholic University. Bishop O'Connell was a big part of our special coverage of the funeral of Pope Francis. He's been on a few times. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate it. The tablet here, I have conclaves throughout history, just for people who follow these things. As we said, you got 2 days, I said Pope Francis, 2 days for Pope Benedict, 3 days for Pope John Paul II, and this was quite a conclave back in 1268. Apparently it took him 2 years and 9 months to come up with Pope Gregory X. So let's hope we don't have to wait that long. What would you expect this time around, or what types of things are you, someone with your experience, watching for?
Well, that lengthy 3-year conclave was what gave birth to the idea of the conclave that has come to us in the present day, that had to be shorter and expedite things a little bit better. In the next few days, we'll see what happens. Conclave is governed by 2 books, by a rule book and by a prayer book. And the rule book was published by Pope St. John Paul II, revised by Pope Benedict. The prayer book, again, by Pope St. John Paul II, to govern the conclave. They begin with prayer, begin with the Mass in St. Peter's at around 10 o'clock Rome time. Then the cardinals will gather over in the Apostolic Palace in the Pauline Chapel and enter into a solemn procession to the Sistine Chapel, where they'll take an oath of fidelity, an oath of secrecy, and they'll be locked in to begin the process.
Now, that process, which you also have up here, how a new pope is chosen, is your point about rule books. The election held 15 to 20 days after the death of a pope. The secret ballots that you referred to, 1 vote the first day, up to 4 votes a day after that. The black and the white smoke before a new pope is announced. There's been a lot. This is all speculation, though, as you know, Bishop O'Connell, made of, who's supposed to be on the list. I think you were saying, and many others have said, yeah, you go in a pope, you come out a cardinal, the old saying. But if these, is it even worth looking at some of these lists, like Cardinal Parolin there on the left, or Cardinal Tagle has been mentioned a lot, supposed to be the Asian Francis. Are those the people we're looking at, or is it just as likely we see some sort of a dark horse candidate that people aren't talking about?
Well, we have to remember we're dealing with human beings in the conclave, the cardinals, who have their own perspectives and have spent the last several days in what's called general congregations. That's opportunities for all of the cardinals, not just the cardinals who are electors, but all of the cardinals to come and talk about the state of the church and what the needs of the church are and so forth and so on. So they've had a chance to talk about a lot of different things and to get to know each other. Many of these cardinals are from foreign countries. Maybe 95 countries are represented in the College of Cardinals, and they really don't know each other. And so that was an opportunity for them to do that. And then once they enter into the conclave, as we say in the scriptures, the wind blows where it pleases.
I guess, yeah, that's why, in political conversations, we ask questions. I think you and I spoke about this, and you say maybe it doesn't always work this way. Directionally, whether the church looks to continue the work of a pope like Pope Francis, who just passed away, or directionally go in a new way. It's hard to predict that kind of thing going into a conclave, isn't it?
I think it's impossible to predict. You don't know. The people have different points of view. Some of them will like to follow the same agenda that Pope Francis had established for the church. Others will want to move in a different direction. And I think we have to give whoever is selected the opportunity to make that decision and to move in the direction that he feels best for the church. That's why they're electing him.
Thank you, Bishop O'Connell. It's a pleasure to speak with you again. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.